After coming out of a 2-year hiatus, Fernando Alonso previously revealed that he planned to stay in Formula One past his 2022 contract with Alpine. However, there are indications that the Spaniard could leave by the end of the season. Fernando Alonso has been regularly bouncing off and back into Formula One. He retired back in 2018 after 4 lackluster seasons with McLaren. Afterwards, he went on to try other ventures in motorsport. The Spaniard spent time competing in IndyCar, Le Mans, and even displaying his off-road versatility with the Dakar Rally. However, he could no longer refrain from making his imminent return to Formula One. The 40-year-old driver came back last season to prove that he still has what it takes to compete at the highest level, and he did prove just that after a stellar drive to third place at the Qatar Grand Prix. This gave Alonso his first F1 podium in 7 long years, after which he was asked whether he'd be staying in F1 for the foreseeable future. He said, "I will be here beyond 2022, and even if the car is not so good. But yeah, my plan is to stay for at least 2 or 3 more years." Despite being as old as he is, Alonso is a clear example of the saying, "Form is temporary, but class is permanent." Alonso drove like an absolute legend when he made his return to Formula One in 2021. He had a few hiccups at the start of the season as he had to get used to life in the sport again. As soon as he got back into his groove, however, he was back to providing vintage performances in that Alpine. The Spaniard might just be racing in the last season of his Formula One career. A couple of factors hint that Alonso might quit racing at the end of 2022. The first is that Alpine is unlikely to deliver a championship contender in 2022. There is no doubt that Fernando Alonso loves racing. The 40-year-old is not on the grid to do what he did at Alpine last year, and he's not in the sport to make up the numbers as well as score a point here and there when possible. He's in F1 for a final opportunity to challenge for the title and win what would be an elusive third title. That is perhaps the reason why Fernando Alonso has put faith in Alpine to deliver a car that is capable of challenging at the front of the grid. Alpine, however, as a team until now, has not shown the DNA capable of bringing a front-running car, because they have regressed in the last couple of years from their usual spot in the pecking order. Even though the team has picked up odd wins and podiums here and there, it has clearly been left behind by other midfield teams like McLaren and Ferrari. If we are looking at early trends, Alpine does not look like a team that is capable of producing the machinery that can fight for titles in 2022, although Alonso claims the car feels much faster than the results claim. In the first event of the season in Bahrain, Alonso finished 9th, 2 places behind teammate Esteban Ocon, after a less than optimum race that was compromised by engine issues and his tire strategy. In Saudi Arabia, the 2 Alpines battled for 6th place in the early stages, and while Ocon ultimately just beat McLaren's Lando Norris to the position, Alonso retired with a drive issue. In contrast to Bahrain, Alpine outpaced Alfa Romeo and Haas in Jeddah. Alonso himself said, "I think I had 2 great races, one in Bahrain, but unfortunately with the wrong strategy, maybe with the wrong starting tire, starting on a scrubbed, and then that compromised my whole race, and with an engine also that was not great in Bahrain. And now here I think I was very fast in qualifying, very unlucky, because some other people didn't have new tires in Q3, and the scrub set was the fastest, unfortunately. So we had to overtake some cars and go back to our natural position this weekend, which I think position 5 or 6. Another retirement, so it's disappointing to have only 2 points after 2 great weekends." Alonso hopes that in future races Alpine will benefit from problems for others. The pace seems a little bit better than what the results say, and we gifted some points to the people behind us. It's a long way, luck will turn around, and hopefully we will receive some of these gifts in the future. I'm happy with the performance, but as I said, we lost points. I think I could be positioned 6th or 7th in the championship, to be honest, and I'm not in that position, and it's not because we don't deserve it. It is just because we didn't maximize the points. I fought for the championship in 2012 with the 3rd fastest car, so I'm used to that. It might also be fair to state the obvious that Fernando Alonso is 40 years old and is no longer in his prime. He may have put together a brilliant season in 2021. That, however, does not take away from the fact that with age, some of the reflexes do get slower for even the best, and Alonso is no exception. While he did put together a great season, Fernando Alonso did not annihilate his teammates like he used to. Esteban Ocon was able to stand up for himself and be more of a match than most of Alonso's previous teammates. It could be attributed to Ocon being a brilliant driver himself, but the assumption that Alonso was slowing down a bit because of his age cannot be ignored. The Alpine driver turns 41 in July and is just 14 races away from breaking Kimi Raikkonen's record of 349 World Championship Formula One race starts. If he does indeed stay in Formula One for 3 further seasons, his career could run until he's 44. He could notch up something in the region of 430 Grand Prix starts and finally retire nearly a quarter of a century after his debut as a 19-year-old with Minardi in 2001. The Spaniard has shown no signs of considering F1 retirement as being in his short-term future, to the point where he only bristles at the subject of his age being raised at all. With Esteban Ocon signed up to the end of 2024, if Piastri gets a full-time race seat with Alpine next year, it would likely have to come at Alonso's expense. Obviously, if I was 25, there would not be this talk. It's an age thing. People try to find a way for the young talents, but I think this is about performance. And last year, I think I did well. I finished slightly in front of Esteban. Let's see this year how the battle goes. This is about performance, not about age. As I said at the beginning of the year, I still feel competitive and fast, and I feel that I'm enjoying Formula One. So we'll race, I guess, a couple more years, 2 or 3 more years. And if it's with Alpine, it will be good. If it's with another team, it will be good as well. I will start these discussions probably in the summer. In conclusion, Alpine still has the much younger Oscar Piastri, who was undoubtedly a special talent. His junior category resume is no less impressive than the likes of Charles Leclerc and George Russell, both of whom are driving in F1 full-time. Currently, Piastri plays the role of Alpine's reserve driver this season, with no seats available on the grid. The Alpine junior driver, however, is not likely to accept another season on the sidelines in 2023 if the team is unable to put him in their car. This could mean giving up on the prodigious talent who could make an impact in whichever team he drives, and Alpine clearly cannot afford that. Esteban Ocon is on an extended contract at Alpine, while Fernando Alonso's contract ends at the end of the 2022 season. It remains to be seen if Alpine will choose the 40-year-old veteran or a driver that could be in the future of Formula One. If it goes for the second option, Alpine won't be the first team to pick up the youth in such a scenario. Piastri has a busy program of testing Formula One machinery and simulator running this year in his role as reserve driver, with his ability and track record demanding an F1 race seat next year. If you enjoyed the video, like and share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications.